Hi everyone and welcome back to my channel. Today we have Harika here with us who has been recently placed at John Deere as a part of her campus placements at VIT. She is here to share her interview experience with us, but before we talk to her, let's look at the eligibility criteria for this company. So all the students belonging to computer science and IT branches were eligible provided they had a CGPA of 6 or 60% in their 10th and 12th and a 70% or a 7 CGPA in their pursuing degree with no standing arrears. So let's go ahead and talk to Harika and understand her experience interviewing for this company. Hi Harika, firstly welcome to my channel and congratulations on your placement.
Thank you, Jishnu. Thank you so much for inviting me. It's a pleasure to be here.
Yeah, so would you like to introduce yourself first?
Yeah. Hi, everyone. I'm Harika Naishadam. I'm currently a fourth year computer science and engineering student from VIT Vellore. My interest lies in machine learning and data science. And last September, September 2023, I got placed at John Deere. I got selected for the graduate engineer trainee full-time offer.
Okay, that's great. Thank you so much. You can now tell us about the placement process, like how many rounds were there and what they comprised of.
Right. So basically, the first round was very simple. I mean, there wasn't a round. We just had to register on the placement portal. And then after registering, there was actually a shortlisting round. There
Okay.
were about like thousands of people, thousands of students registering on the placement portal.
Mm-hmm.
But about 180 to 190 people got shortlisted
Okay.
for the online test.
Hmm.
And I think the shortlisting was based on the resume or CGPA. It can be one of those two.
Okay.
And then the online test was for about 50 minutes.
Okay.
It was in two sections, aptitude and technical.
Mm-hmm.
Aptitude had, visual reasoning, data interpretation, data insights, so
Okay.
all of those things, and
Hmm.
also a few English questions
Okay.
just to check your language strength.
Okay.
And then technical questions, there were OS, DBMS,
Mm-hmm.
OOPS questions, and also a bunch of programming language questions. So
Right.
we were given snippets of code and we had to interpret what the output
Oh,
would be or to find what is wrong in the code and things like that.
okay.
And after the online test was the interview process.
Hmm.
So there were only two rounds in total. The interview round had both the technical interview and the HR interview.
Okay.
And we were told that we got selected for the interview one day before the interview
Inter-
process.
okay.
That's basically what happens for any
Hmm.
in any company.
Hmm.
So the interview round was for about 40 minutes, 40 to 45 minutes. It started with the panel members introducing themselves. They were two managers.
Okay.
They told about their role
Mm-hmm.
at John Deere,
Hmm.
what they do, and basically they were just setting up the field for the interview.
Right.
And then I had to introduce myself, what are my interests, and what are my goals and
Hmm. Hmm.
aspirations. Why do I want to join John Deere?
Right.
And
Okay.
how do I see John Deere aligning with what my goals and
Mm-hmm.
aspirations are in
Hmm.
my career?
Okay.
And then they thoroughly scanned my resume.
Mm-hmm.
Every single part of my resume they questioned. So basically, my work experience, I had internships.
Right.
So they asked me questions about what I did at those
Hmm.
internships, how I got those internships,
Mm-hmm.
do I have the projects on GitHub,
Hmm.
what technologies have I learned. So they
Right.
asked me everything in detail about my internships.
Hmm.
And then about my projects, the entire interview was basically from the projects that I've done. So I had about three projects,
Okay.
and my entire resume was very machine learning and data science oriented.
Hmm.
So since Python was my programming language, the language that I coded in,
Mm-hmm.
so they asked me what lambda function is. They asked me the difference between tuples and lists. And they were basically testing my basics in Python. They
Right.
wanted to know if I understood what Python is.
Mm-hmm. Hmm.
And then I had also mentioned that I used NumPy, Pandas,
Hmm.
and these libraries for my project. So they asked me how I use these libraries, what are these libraries,
Right.
and they asked me what asynchronous methods are and how I would implement them in Python. And then they moved on to data structures and algorithms. They asked me to give the algorithm of a binary search tree.
Okay.
They asked me differences between stacks and queues,
Okay.
and they also asked me where I would apply these, like real-time
Example.
cases of where I would apply stacks and queues.
Okay.
Then we moved on to OOPS and DBMS, where I was asked to define classes and objects
Mm-hmm.
and give examples of classes and objects in Python,
Okay.
basically. And then what inheritance is, different types of inheritance. And I was also asked what abstract classes and interfaces are.
Okay.
And then we moved on to DBMS, where I was given a scenario and I was asked to identify and eliminate the redundant data in the database.
Hmm.
Then I was asked to explain the concept of functional dependencies
Okay.
and how I would optimize the database for better performance.
Hmm.
So this was basically the technical round.
Hmm.
This was about like 20 minutes.
Okay.
20-25 minutes, and the rest of the time was basically HR questions. So I also had a bunch of extracurricular activities.
Mm-hmm.
I had leadership roles in multiple clubs and chapters. So they asked me what I did in each of those clubs and chapters,
Hmm.
what was my role,
Hmm.
how I worked in groups, what role do I take in groups, how do I ensure that all the group members are working. So they gave me different scenarios of how group projects
Hmm.
or teams
Hmm.
function, and they asked me what I would do in this situation.
Right.
And then they also asked me a very tricky, interesting question. So I was part of multiple groups of different domains. So I was
Hmm.
part of a technical club, NGO, a cultural club, a literary club. So they asked me why I was part of all of these different clubs
Hmm.
and not just one club. So I
Right.
had to answer that in a very diplomatic manner
Hmm.
so that
Hmm.
it's not disadvantageous to me.
Right.
Um, and yeah, and then they asked me a bunch of other HR questions of what's my aspiration if I get into John Deere, and how I would add value to their
Mm-hmm.
company. And yeah, that was the interview basically. It was for about 40-45 minutes.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, that's great. Thank you so much for sharing your experience. So your HR and the both parts of the interview were taken by the same people, right? It's the same
Right.
people. Okay.
Correct.
Okay, that's great. Thank you so much and congrats again.
Thank you.
So, do you have any suggestions for your juniors or anything that you learned from your experience?
Right. So I think so whatever you've done in college and before college, it's all about connecting all of those dots, connecting all of those experiences, and
Hmm.
making up a story. Because the interviewers can ask questions from any experience that you've had and ask you another contradicting question of why you've done that and not
Right.
this. You need
Mm-hmm.
to see yourself as someone who has a story to tell
Right.
in a
Hmm.
way that you add value to their company.
Okay.
It's not just about the
Hmm.
clubs and chapters you've been a part of or the projects that you've done individually, but it's about how you're also part of this.
Hmm.
You're also having your activities, but you're also doing your academics.
Right.
So there must be a balance between your academics and your extracurricular
Hmm.
activities. Be very strong in your basics, even if you don't know all, like even if you're grinding lead code but you don't know the basic questions,
Hmm.
then that would be disadvantageous to you.
Right.
Just do the basics, get your fundamentals right. I mean, the four subjects: OS, DBMS, OOPS, and the programming language that you're choosing.
Hmm.
Be very strong in these. Most of the companies have coding rounds as well. John Deere did not have that, but
Okay.
yet they asked me the algorithm of a
Right.
binary search tree.
Mm-hmm.
So, and even if you don't know that, if you know how to start the algorithm, that's enough, and they'll help you with
Hmm.
the rest of the problem. But if you
Right.
don't know what it is in the first place, then that's not going to help you.
Okay.
So just be very strong in your fundamentals and
Mm-hmm.
basics.
Okay. Okay, that's great. Thank you so much for sharing your experience and your suggestions. And yeah, thank you.
Thank you, thank you. It's been a pleasure.
Hi everyone. So thank you all for watching. I hope you found this video helpful. If you did, please do like, share, and subscribe. And keep waiting for more videos. Thank you.